Good morning, everybody. This is There Is No Crying in Crochet with me, Debbie of MadameStitch,
Biz of Busy Crochet. Hello.
and we are here to solve all of your talk about all of your frustrations, help you work through them. That is our purpose here, with a little touch of crime added in, because who doesn't need a little crime on a Friday morning? Yes, this is
Everybody needs
Friday
crime.
morning, because there are things happening around here, and we didn't want to miss you this week. So I'm going to get the business out of the way. You ready, Biz?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do it.
All right. We want you to subscribe to our YouTube channels, not because we are vain people, but because you will get all the notifications if you click and subscribe every time we upload a video. And we don't just do these podcasts, we do tutorials and other things that you might be interested in. So be sure to visit our YouTube channels. And if you are commenting today, if you're watching on Facebook, we want to see who we're talking to, because that's so much more fun than random Facebook user. So give StreamYard permission to display your name so we can see your name in the chat. And they don't use any of that information for anything else except to let us know who's chatting. So be not afraid of the personal information share. All right.
Connie's here, so good morning.
Oh, yay, Connie. All right. Before we get into what's been happening this week, we're going to just remind you about our September IG challenge. So over on Instagram, we are holding a challenge where every day, let me get it up here, every day, there we go, we have daily prompts for crochet fall fashion. So as you may remember, our focus for this month is crochet fall fashion. We're highlighting accessories that can deck you out and have you making all kinds of cool things in the month of September. So with those daily prompts, we ask that you either post your own picture of whatever we've asked, or you comment in either my post or Busy's post with the hashtag Crochet Fall Fashion Challenge 23. It's really long, but it will come up because now it's being used. So we love it. And every Friday, which this is a Friday, we have drawings for a giveaway for a free pattern from either me or Biz. Yay. So you want to be.
And we have two totally different styles, so you get to choose.
And yeah, it's fantastic. So when you do post on your own, there are our Instagram handles. You can tag us so that we're definitely going to see it because we check on the hashtag. But we would love to have you to see you on our feeds and all of that stuff. All right, Biz, we are ready to announce week 2 winner. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, there's the drum roll. All right, the week 2 winner is just me, Linnea. So this person, Linnea, you will be receiving a direct message from me after the podcast on Instagram that will give you the instructions about how to claim your special prize. So we hope to see you there. All right, that was it.
I'm just going to
say a lot of business.
Carla from Georgia, hi. Thank you for leaving us a note. Good to see you here.
Sweet. All right, let's see. Yep, nice. Okay. All right. So before we get into the subject of the day, Biz, what was up this week? What were you up to this week?
A lot. It's so funny. Sometimes you feel like you're just wandering around in a fog and you don't know what you're doing. But then when you look back, you're like, oh my God, I just completed like 3 major projects this week.
I know, right?
What was I doing? And then all of a sudden you're without this project. I even posted about it this morning. I felt like I was coming out of a cave and kind of blinking into the sun like, oh my God, where am I? And so of course I had to start on something new right away because you can't have idle hands.
Oh,
and I whipped out like 7 hot pads in the last 2 days. So, that's my TV watching. And I didn't realize I started making a hot pad and I'm like, oh, this is all single crochet. This is going to suck. And before I knew it, I was like on my third one. I'm like, holy cow, these were really fast.
Because you go into a trance.
Yeah, you do.
I'm
You
just
do.
saying, you go into a trance. Single crochet is the best because, you know, it's just loop, 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 and I get you.
And I forced myself to have fun with it, and I made it stripy, and I color changed and did all kinds of stuff in there, counted rows. I mean, I was like keeping myself involved in this thing.
Well, I'm totally impressed.
Well, thanks. Debbie, hi from Central Pennsylvania.
Oh, wait, is there another?
Yeah, there's you, and then there's Debbie over here.
Another Debbie from
You're
Pennsylvania.
Like, yeah, that's exactly where I am.
I know, right? Wait, are you commenting on your own podcast? What is happening here? No, I'm in Eastern Pennsylvania, as far east as you can get without being in New Jersey. I can actually go downtown and put my feet on either side of the state line. So it's great. But it's in the middle of a river. So what are you going to do?
You know, it's funny though, because it's kind of like Florida and Alabama. I'm literally 7 miles away from Alabama. So I could do the same thing, I think.
There you go. It's quite wonderful. I was kind of doing the same thing this week, Biz, that you were, I was neck deep in getting, I had 2 patterns released yesterday. Wasn't really planning on that happening, but it sort of was determined for me. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go with it. And they were not necessarily just simple patterns. One of them, this is so great. My grandson's birthday is on Granny Square Day, August 15th. And he turned 11 this year. We have a tradition that I do a new design for him that has Granny Stitch in it every Granny Square Day. Well, this year I had signed up for a blog hop that was all about team spirit. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to do a team colors pillow because he loves pillows. So, but to write the instructions for this stinking pillow, it's cute as all what, but
it is. I love it.
It's fabulous. And of course, my grandson is the product model. So there you go. But one side is a granny square. So you've got the 13 rounds of instructions for that. The other side, let me be creative here, is corner to corner. So not only do you have to create the chart, you have to write out the instructions. And let me tell you how much of a pain in the rear end it is to write instructions for C2C. This many squares of this color, this many squares of this color.
Color changes in general.
And then, so pattern is like, I think it's like 10 or 11 pages long.
Oh my gosh. That is hilarious.
And I had to get, and for the pattern releases, I have to do blog posts, and they're both free on the blog. So I'm trying to figure out, I'm copying and pasting all this stuff. So it's been a week. And so if I seem a little out of it today, y'all, it's because I'm like Biz. I'm coming out of a pattern writing coma today. And just working on stuff that I adore. So,
well, and you're getting morning us. You're not getting afternoon us. So you're getting what you get.
Now, I will say I've had my 2 or 3 cups of coffee already, but caffeine doesn't do squat for me. So I just drink it because it's really good. So it really isn't. Yeah. So it doesn't really help me.
It takes me to my happy place.
Do I have a happy place? I don't know. All right. So we're going to move on, Biz, because that's what everybody's here for. I hope,
stop talking.
Could you just get on with it? All right. Continuing in our theme of crochet fall fashion, today's episode is all about those shawls and wraps. And I convinced Biz that we needed to include ponchos, even though I don't think either one of us designs ponchos, right?
Do you?
What?
Yes. And it's a granny square poncho.
Yes. Okay. Granny squares rock. Okay. Anyway, I digress. So we're going to get into that right now. Basically, I think during today's podcast, we're going to talk a little bit about what the difference in them is. And I have to preface that by saying, I think you probably agree, Biz, is that I think shawl and wrap are interchangeable in some respects.
Yeah.
So we're going to kind of narrow it down to a more specific definition and talk about some ways that we can style it. So here we go.
I do have a sample with me, so I do have a sample so we can
Oh,
style.
perfect. I can talk about the samples that I have in my shop, but I will not be able to show them today. All right, we are going to talk about the difference between them and how to tell the difference. So I'm going to start off with shawls. So, Biz, what shapes do you typically see shawls made in?
So the ones that I normally see, and they call it a shawl, is typically a triangular shape. And honestly, anything other than that, I've only ever seen it called a wrap, really.
Yeah. So there are, if you know your math, and I was a math minor in college, so I know a little math. There are different there are different shapes of triangles. The most common one, I think, is the one that starts at the tip. Start making it at the tip, and you work your way out. Yes, like what you see Biz holding. So the turquoise part at the bottom is actually where you start, and that is just worked from the center. Actually, it was yours started at the top.
This one is started at the top because
Yeah.
this one is like a virus shawl or something like that.
Yes. So, but that's the shape. It either starts at the bottom and works its way out so that the design is in rows from the tip up, but yours is actually in V shapes from the top down, but it's the same concept. Yeah. Same concept. All right, another shape of triangle I've seen, which is really easy to do, is you start at the bottom, and it's actually a right angle. Let me get in the screen. A right angle triangle, which means that all of your decreases are along one edge till you get to the tip. Or you can start at the tip. Some designers will start at the tip and just work out till they get to the width they want. And you have the point is not in the center when you go to drape it.
Yeah, they usually call those asymmetrical.
Those are asymmetrical. I've also seen asymmetricals that are done with, how do they work it? The decreases are greater. They happen faster on one side than the increases on the other. So they get to the tip, but it's not a right angle.
Okay.
It's like that.
Yes. Okay.
Right. You've seen that. So those are two asymmetricals. Now I've actually made a few shawls in a crescent shape. So there is no point. Mine are very simple, but I know there are other designers that will do something a little more intricate, but you start at one end of the shawl and you increase along one side until you get to the center. You even that out without making a point. So you do even rows for a little bit just to make a curved edge, and then you work your way with decreases back to the other. My Daisy dog scarf, which I call a scarf, is actually a crescent shawl.
Okay.
I did that with her. So those are some shapes that I've seen with shawls, but the most common, I think, is the triangle, like you mentioned.
I would agree. And for myself, whenever I look for shawls, specifically, I look for the triangular shaped ones.
We'll talk about styling later, but there are all kinds of fun ways to wear a shawl. Well, actually, we can talk about it right here. With a crescent shawl, I find it acts a lot more like a scarf or a cowl. It has such a slow slope that it almost functions like a scarf when you style it. But I love the fact that you can take a triangle scarf. You can put the point in the front and just have it decorative.
Yeah.
And then on the ends, like you have, this is a perfect example. Adding tassels to the ends means that when you wrap it around,
this doesn't fit around me because I'm chubby, but
Yeah, I love that though, but you can wrap that
But yeah,
around your neck and the ends come around and tassels hang.
I should have brought my Bertha in here. She's
Oh, that works.
I'm choking.
But you look so cute. But tassels are a real common addition to shawls. Just
They're
adds a
fun.
little touch of finished off look.
Mhm.
And that really brings me to what are their function. I think shawls of all of the three that we're talking about are the most decorative, right? They function more as a add-on accessory.
Yeah,
Like you're wearing it right now, it can be used for warmth, but if you wear it with the tip in the front, yeah,
yeah,
or you can use a shawl pin to pin it up on your shoulder,
yeah.
that sort of thing.
I'm just a little wide for these, so I don't usually wear them.
But those colors are absolutely perfect for fall. I love them.
Yeah, this
Yep.
one's and soft. So soft.
All right, let's see here. Have we exhausted all of our shawl discussion for now? I think we have. But thanks for show and tell there, Ms. Biz.
You are so welcome.
All right, let's move on to wraps because this is
Yes.
our next category. So what shape do we normally see wraps in?
For me, I see a lot of the rectangular, the real oblong ones. I consider that a
Mhm.
wrap. But then you've also got things like ruanas, which are like a poncho, except they're open and they are actually a wrap.
Yeah, they're put together a little bit differently in that they're almost two long
Mm-hmm.
rectangles that have a seam up the back, and then
Hmm.
everything else is open. It just
Yeah.
kind of hangs over.
It,
And I've
it just
seen
snaps on.
some people tie them at the waist with either a tie or a belt.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
And you
that's
can
I hadn't
create
even
a
thought
belt
about that.
space if you want to leave openings in the
Yeah,
pattern.
yeah, I will never forget. Speaking of Ruanas, when I was starting out trying to build my business, I decided that I needed to be a pattern tester because I wanted to see the process behind that. I knew I was going to need pattern testers, so I wanted to see the process. So I signed on to make a beautiful Ruana with motifs. I can't even do this, and I still haven't quite figured out how she did this, but she designed all of the squares
Uh-huh.
that when they were joined, the corners actually made designs as well as the center. So you had just one continuous design, but it was
Mhm.
squares that were joined as you go.
Yeah.
And I'm going through the pattern. Clearly, I did not understand what a ruana was because I'm going, well, where are the instructions for the side seams? Because, and she
This isn't
gets back to,
finished.
I felt so stupid because she goes, it's a ruana. Okay, well, oh, all right. So I get online to find out what a ruana is and go, oh, that's what I feel like such an idiot. Clearly, I have not designed a ruana, but now I know what it is.
Oh, me either. I don't think I've even made one.
They're really cool. That they, it's weird how they just have enough drape to hang
Mm.
without falling off. It's the
To stay on
weirdest
you. Yeah.
thing. Yeah, they stay on you. A wrap, I've got a couple of wraps in my design library. One of them is a granny wrap, a really inventive name. It's made up of granny squares, join as you go, because it's huge. It's like a blanket, but it's
Yeah.
a big rectangle that wraps around you.
Mm.
And I put a really fun pom pom border on it. It's just really cute.
I love pom pom
Um,
borders. They are so slow, but they are so
they
cute.
are slow. Then my sister looked at the pattern and goes, "You know, that'd make a great blanket." Well, yes, it would because it's basically a rectangular blanket. She goes, "Can you make me one in a blanket?" Sure. So there
I'm
you
on
go.
it.
Now I don't know how you would do a square one. Um,
I've seen
it would
people do them,
have
but
to,
I'm like, isn't that just a baby blanket?
it's a big old blanket, right? I guess. It would have to be
Oh, and the
very big to
circular
be.
ones. Have you seen the circular ones?
Yeah, I have. And the only way that works for me is when you wear them, you have to double it over, right?
Yes.
Right? You can't
Yes,
just wear a
but
big
then, like,
circle because then it's
at that point, isn't it just a blanket? I mean, I guess I miss the concept. Obviously, there are people that like it because they're fairly popular patterns, and
yeah,
they're beautiful to look at, but the functionality of them escapes me.
right. Right. Yeah, and speaking of functionality, the purpose of a wrap is basically to have a blanket style something over you to
Yes,
keep you warm that's
yes,
got more coverage than a shawl,
yes.
but is you can take it on and off as at will.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I
I
agree, but I
tend to
think
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I think that's we designers have artistic license to do what we
Yeah.
want, and if
Oh,
people
for
buy
sure.
them, all the better. So we don't have to understand; we just have to accept.
Exactly. I tend to I like designing wraps, but I tend to stick with the long rectangular ones just because it's easier for me.
Mhm.
I don't know what it is about me and triangular shawls. I just I just can't get the concept of doing it nice and it either is skinny all the way up. It's like,
And then
what
it
is this?
hangs to your toes.
Yes. Or it goes like this right away. And it's like, I
Yeah.
just can't get it. And
Yeah,
sometimes we excel at some things and not at others.
and I really wish that I was better at it because they are incredibly popular and they're fun to
Mhm,
make. But I haven't I've done that one granny and I basically just started off with this is what the start's going to be and here are the increases and let's see
mhm,
what it turns out to be and it's big. But to get the width, I had to get the depth. That's where the
mhm,
difficulty is. When you want to get the width,
mhm,
the depth is so variable for me. And I think it's I look at garment designers, some of my favorite garment designers, and they basically come up with a concept that works for them and they make the stitch patterns work for that concept. So they're not constantly changing the way they figure out
mhm,
the math of it.
mhm,
And I think that's what you and I probably haven't had the opportunity to do is just get a concept,
mhm,
go with it for all the things. So
mhm. Yeah, yeah. Um, I did just design a recent I don't have a full one here, but I have kind of a sample.
ooh,
So, I mean, this is not a finished version, but that's coming soon.
I recognize that stitch pattern. What is that called?
Oh, I don't know. But
I've
it's
seen
yeah,
something like that in my stitch books,
yes, you
and I
have
love it.
because I got it from a stitch book.
Yeah, I love that pattern because it's open work, but it has a little more substance to it.
Mhm.
So it holds up. The drape is not quite as flimsy. I
Right.
really like it.
Right. I and the finished product, I gave it away already because it was for someone and I designed it for her specifically, but I'm like, this is really, really pretty. So I'm actually gonna see if I can get it published. If I can get it published, then it's gonna be a hot minute before it comes out. But if it's not, then I'm gonna be putting it out close to Christmas.
Excellent. Well, we will look for that. Awesome.
Yeah. Thanks.
Keep us posted.
I will.
Wearing style, basically, we you can either just hold it around your shoulders or
Mhm.
throw one of the rectangular ends over your shoulders so it stays on, and it's usually substantial enough that it stays by itself. But you can always use a shawl pin if you need to.
Have you seen
Um,
that picture of, Lenny Kravitz where he's got that super oversized okay, so that's basically a wrap that he used as a
yeah,
scarf.
I've also seen the meme attached. So you checked your gauge, huh?
Yeah. Yes.
Which we talked about last week.
Yes, we
Um,
did.
all right.
What's your
Well,
gauge?
let's move on to because I think wraps we've covered. Let's move on to ponchos. All
Ponchos.
right. Can I just say
Mhm.
I absolutely love ponchos and I've never made one and I've never worn one. So What is that about? I
It's one of those admiring it from afar kind of things. And I'm the same because I like the idea of a poncho. Um I don't like things over my arms. I'm always warm, so I have no need for a sweater. It's just I like the idea of a poncho. I
yeah.
really do.
Mhm.
It's just
Now
not
I've
practical.
seen them made up. In fact, Lion Brand years ago, they had a line of chenille yarn, which by the way makes you
Mm,
want to hurt someone as you work
mhm,
with it. It
mhm.
it doesn't frog and it sheds. I digress. Anyway, they had this
She's got an
gorgeous
opinion, boys.
granny square poncho made out of it. And of course, I just drooled like there was no tomorrow.
Yeah.
Bought the yarn, started to make it, went, "Ugh, I can't. Um, but the ponchos, they actually are quite easy to put together because they can be four squares, four big squares that are the
Mhm.
size that you need them to be, or I've seen two long rectangles that are sewn together, one end to the side of the other rectangle and then the opposite on the other side, and
Mhm.
it forms that square of the poncho. You can do all kinds of
Mhm.
things with a poncho
Mhm.
as far as
And they come in
construction.
so many styles. Like
Mhm.
of all of the wraps, I think that a poncho, you're gonna find the greatest um style range because you've got Josie Wales ponchos, you've got the granny square poncho, the regular triangle, you can have circular ponchos, you can have net, lacy ponchos. I mean, there's so many different kinds.
They're perfect for almost any season too, not just fall, because you can and depending upon the weight of the yarn, you can make them for going out on the boardwalk in the summertime, or
Mhm.
you can make them for, instead of a coat, you put on your long turtleneck sweater and you put a poncho over it and you're ready to go out in the cold. I mean, they're
Mhm.
now I've also seen, you probably have too, we think of the ponchos as just having the opening
Mhm.
and no arms, but I'm starting to see, what do they call them?
I was gonna bring that
Sw
up.
what it is it swanchos or something where they
Yes,
add yes, they create an armhole
the
and then put a
sleeve.
sleeve
Yes,
on it. I'm like,
yes.
how do you get in and out of that? I just wanna know,
Well, I mean,
I mean,
it's a pot.
what
Okay,
thing
so that's the question then. Is it a sweater or is it a poncho? Because you've got cuffs on this thing, so you're actually, it's enclosing your arms now. It's now a sweater. And I understand the concept of the whole swancho.
yeah.
We're like, oh, we want to be hybrid, but is
Well,
it
the other thing
though?
I'm seeing is, instead of just having the opening, now we've got collars. This
Mm-hmm.
happens with I actually saw
Turtleneck.
this with wraps and shawls too. You
Okay.
put a you it's really easy to do because you don't go the length of the shawl or the wrap. You choose whatever would be around the neck and you crochet a panel that naturally will fold to the other side once you
Okay.
put it on and it becomes a collar,
Mm-hmm.
almost like a shawl collar.
Mm-hmm. And then
Not
you've also
a
got turtlenecks and hooded ones.
uh-huh.
There's just all kinds of them.
And tassels and pom-poms. I mean, you can decorate all of these up, and, I think that's what I love about these kinds of accessories the most, is that there are so many possibilities for making it your unique creation. You
Mm-hmm.
take that original pattern, but you add accessories to it, or you add I don't know, you can the yarn you choose, all of the colors, they can just be so personalized.
Yep. You can dress it up, dress it down. It could be a sweater. It could be just like your Saturday morning farmer's market wrap. That kind of
Connie
stuff.
Connie's
I
Connie's
know.
trying to be good. She said,
I know. I
yeah,
left it there.
okay. Thank you, Connie. We're just gonna leave it there, but we appreciate you. Love you, darling. All right, so that basically gets us through those 3 major,
Yes.
categories of this
Mhm.
kind of wearable accessory. So I thought it might be kind of fun to talk briefly about what we see in the current trends and coming down the pike. We've touched on it a little bit with our
Mm.
added collars and things,
Mhm.
but what what do you see? I was kind of browsing some Pinterest images and some patterns on Ravelry to see what other people were doing. What have you noticed?
Personally, for I haven't really noticed any major like trend differences. Everything's kind of the same, you know. Um, we're all still I think the granny square is just exploding again, but we've had that
Mhm.
conversation, like we talked about it last month. But it pertains to this because
Yeah.
it's showing up in absolutely everything again. You've
Mhm.
got scarves and sweaters and shawls, and everything is incorporating the granny stitch or the granny square. So of all of the trend differences, I would probably say that one is the most popular.
Yeah, and it's been about 40 or 50 years since it was just
Hmm.
everywhere. So I think it's being modernized, but it's also, it's giving the fashion trend a little bit of a retro vintage vibe, but with
Hmm.
modern colors and modern shapes and stuff.
If you're okay with it, I'm gonna just pop my in the comments. I'm gonna pop a link in there for I've got a poncho pattern
Sure.
that is available for free, and it's a granny square one. So, um, if you're all right with that, I'm just gonna put that in there.
Absolutely.
But we're waiting for it to load.
Um,
So.
I was looking at we've talked about,
Yeah.
we didn't
So you
mention print.
what do you see as trend differences?
Well, I see a lot of, it's something that I'm trying to do because I'm not a tassels and pom-poms person or fringe. It's not my jam. And I tend to design things that I would wear. Um, I don't get too far afield from that, although I was
Uh-huh.
very neutral color for a very long time and decided that nobody really wanted to see another gray thing. So, I was a musician for so many years that black was my go-to. So that was what I was designing, not black, but
Yeah.
but neutral tones, and discovered that if I just added some color, life would be so much better. So I've been trying to get a little bit more of that. But what I've been seeing um, is fringe and tassels, a lot of accessories, buttons, things to decorate that spice up the look and make it more unique, I think. It just the finishing details are the things that I'm beginning to notice. Ooh, one thing we didn't talk about with ponchos. I've noticed this as well. Traditionally, that poncho is worn with it has 4 corners to it, so a corner in the front, a corner in the back, and then the other 2 corners drape over the arms. But I've seen people turning
Hmm.
them 45 degrees so that now the corners drape over your arms and it's straight across the front.
Yes. And that's
And
actually
then
more
adding
the
tassels.
Josie Wales style.
Is that
Yeah.
got it? Um, Bohemian and folk styles, like I said, just kind of
Mhm.
looking back at what the styles used to be, but updating the colors to something that's more modern. Um, and we talked about adding hoods and collars and that sort of thing to the shawls. So I think designers are trying to be a little more innovative with standard styles like
Mhm.
shawls, wraps, and ponchos to give them a fresh look.
I was gonna say because I think that shawl, not shawls necessarily, but like ponchos in particular, kind of get a bad rap in the not only design, not not rap as in a pun, but like rap, as in like bad coverage because a lot of people look at it and they go, "Oh, that's so hippie," or "That's so this," or "It's so that."
Mhm,
Now you can definitely design something or create something that has that vibe to it, but you can also go extremely modern and simplistic with what you're doing. And like if you're a designer, go with simple stitches. Like this one. Just grab something that's
mhm.
very very easy to do, and you can make it extremely modern and streamlined. Like this poncho, this wrap that I have here is very very modern and very very down. Like it doesn't have any hippie vibe to it at all. it actually has more of a resort kind of look.
Ooh, that's great. Yeah,
So,
that's big too. I've seen a lot of calls for resort wear because people are
mm.
starting to wear it out in the summertime on the beach and boardwalk a little bit more.
Dawn has said that she slept in this morning, so thanks for joining us, Dawn. And she loves
Oh,
ponchos too. So I wish I
hi,
loved. I mean, I
Dawn.
wish I could loved wearing them. I love ponchos. I just wish that I loved wearing
Yeah, I think I could probably wear them a little bit more often because of the temperature variance that we have up here.
them.
In fact, today is a perfect example. Our temperatures just plummeted over the last couple of days, and it's 61 right now. We might barely get into the 70s. So I could actually use a wrap right.
Let me look. We were at 70 something this morning, which was almost cold. We're at 79 right now. So we're like having we've been in the 90s to hundreds for 2 months straight.
Oh,
This
oh
feels so
gosh.
good.
Yeah, it does. All right. I we have just a, I have I don't know a couple of other things on my list, and I think we actually might have talked about this. Other things to know about this particular range of fall accessories. I think it's possible to apply just about any stitch pattern
Hmm.
or motif to all three of these.
Yeah.
The world is your oyster here. You can
You can really
do
let creativity flow.
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
and the yarn that you choose, like we talked about, it can be it used to be that you didn't see a lot of summertime crochet because it used to be thought of as clunky and heavy. The
Hmm.
stitches were thick and all of that. If you wanted anything, it needed to be knit. Well, now we've shown that crochet can also have a place in the summertime,
Yes,
and not drown you in sweat. So
absolutely.
I think you can do just about anything you want. But for the fall, of course,
Hmm.
those earth tones, or oh my gosh, I don't know if you get the trees down here. You probably did when you were living up north.
Yeah, when we were in
Maples and oaks when
oh
they
God.
turn, oh my
Fall is my
lord, when
favorite time of year.
we have a bush here called the fire bush, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
called that yeah, because when it turns, it's a flaming red. It just looks like it's
Gorgeous.
on fire.
Yeah.
And the mums are so gorgeous, and they're all of those mustard yellows, pumpkin
Hmm.
orange, wine,
That kind of rusty red
burgundy.
color.
Yeah. Oh man, they're just so gorgeous with the
Yeah.
greens that are fall. So it's just a really beautiful time of year.
Mhm.
Um, I think they make great alternatives to shawls, to scarves and cowls too.
Mhm.
For me,
Absolutely.
scarves and cowls basically focus
Mm.
on keeping this area warm. Shawls and wraps are just a big old hug.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mhm.
And the thing about shawls and wraps are a lot of them are thin enough that like several of my wraps, like my husband jokingly has put them around his neck and it's a great big scarf, you know.
Yeah.
If you have the size to pull it off, you can wear them as a scarf too.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and if they're light enough, you can
Yeah.
also do that, right?
Yeah.
Open work, lace, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And don't discount lace and open work stuff for the fall
No.
because it doesn't have to be a dense fabric. It's amazing to me how even just having a lightweight wrap on your shoulders when the weather turns cool can keep you from shivering.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yes. And Dawn agrees with us. She says two rectangles sewn together on one end and have an opening at the tomatoes, meant to say top. Okay, is an amazing poncho. You're absolutely right. Yeah, we had just talked about that for the most part, but yeah, my biggest my biggest when I look at ponchos is the swan show. It's that one I get a little hung up on that one. I want to
Oh,
love it. It's cute. You know, it's always so cute on the models, but I look at it and I go, I just don't think so.
can you imagine trying to figure out the math for that one?
No, thanks.
What does that armhole look like, and how big are those sleeves supposed to be? Oh,
Yes.
it makes
Although
my head hurt this early in the morning.
when we were talking about Ruanas, I had a vision of a hippie style Ruana in a zigzag pattern with granny square flowers, and I'm gonna make it.
Oh, okay, you're on. And our
Mhm.
to-do list, as it always does,
It
because when
grows.
we share ideas, it grows.
It
Yeah, I've
grows.
got so many things that I need to design right now. That's what I love to do. That's what gives me life, is here's some yarn, let's make something out of it. And I
Yeah.
am so I am so squirrel when it comes to designing. If I don't get it,
So am
honestly,
I.
if I
Oh
don't
my
get it
god.
on my design release calendar and go, "You're sticking to that one," I will be off on 5 other projects before I've even worked this one out. It's
I
just
have
nuts.
design ideas on my whiteboard over there, and the list just keeps growing because I just add it as I think of it. And I'm like, am I ever going to actually get to any of these things? Because something comes along and it's like, oh, I want to be a part of that project. So I design something for that, which
Yep,
pushes
yep, yep,
all
yep,
of that to the backside.
yep,
Oh my God.
yep. Yeah, I'm kind of in that area right now where I'm trying not to take other stuff to do because I really have to get stuff off my to-do list because they're really cool. They're
Yes.
really,
I
really cool.
I know. I know. We'll do it.
All
We might
right.
we might
Well,
be we might be squeaking in the door, right at the very end of our lives, finishing up that last project.
you know, when they bury me, they're gonna have to take my hook and yarn with me because I think I'm gonna be in my recliner and just, you know. Okay, that was morbid. Let's just move on. Dawn
Moving
says
right along.
my whips are growing too. I mean, Dawn, let's be honest here as crocheters. This is not a bad thing necessarily. We all suffer from this because okay, I'm going to get all philosophical on here. We see the gorgeousness that is crochet and we can't get enough of it and we just want to share it.
Mhm.
So, I don't know. There are worse hobbies, worse things we could do with our time, right?
For
Really.
sure.
So, anyway, all right. I think we have done our due diligence for
So,
shawls, wraps, and ponchos, and I do hope that you all enjoyed the discussion around it because honestly, when this is the confession time, when I came into this discussion this morning, I'm going, what are we going to talk about?
yeah.
Even though I have an outline here,
Yeah.
and Biz and I never have any trouble finding anything to talk
No.
about.
Well, because we both shoot from the hip. We're crazy. Good like that.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, before we part company, we have to talk about what we've been watching this week,
Mhm.
in amongst all of the work in progress coma and the pattern writing and all of that stuff. So, Biz, what were you able to catch on TV this week?
I'm gonna be completely transparent and say I can't remember. Um, I have no idea what I watched this week. I know I watched some stuff, and I had it on kind of in the background, and I have no idea. I mean, I watched a lot of Big Brother because that's what my husband likes to watch is trash reality TV and football. So I got a lot of that in, but I
Ah,
can't remember the other stuff I watched. And I know I watched something really, really interesting. And I'm like, I gotta write this down so I can tell Deb about it.
no, okay, Biz, stop for just a second. That is mindful crochet at its best. That's what mindful crochet is. If you can't remember what you did last night except what you made, that
Mhm.
is totally mindful crochet. I love it. Oh, Connie watched Blue Bloods all day
Blue
yesterday.
Bloods.
Here you
That's another
go.
favorite of my husband's. I'm
Yep.
sorry to say I can't do it. It's one of those you know me. I can't handle a repeating theme. And so
Mm-mm.
I can watch the occasional show. And I think that's the reason why I don't have a problem watching trash reality TV. It's because it literally changes every episode. It
Oh,
kind of has the
yeah.
basic theme, but it's different. And I have a problem with cookie cutter TV shows, and I have a problem making it through like 11,000 seasons of them. So
Oh
I
my
like Blue
gosh.
Bloods. It's a good show, and I'm a Tom Selleck fan. I mean, love the man.
Yes.
But
Yeah. Well, I finished the second season of Truth Be Told, and oh boy, I did not see that coming. Great acting, fabulous storyline. They had me totally bamboozled. I just had no idea until the last episode. Actually, about halfway to three-quarters through, they go, "Oh, it's this person." What? Are you serious? What? No way. So
Well,
that
that's
was
good
finished.
though.
Yeah.
It's
I
good you
love
can
those kind of
figure it out.
stories. I love that. I read books like that all the time. You
Mhm,
don't know what's coming until the end.
mhm.
Um,
Now,
but
would your
yeah, I
husband have figured it out?
oh no, not no,
Well, then it was
no.
really good because if because my husband, it's his life mission to ruin the show for me, and figure out
Yeah,
he'll say that "Nah, that's a bad guy." Shh, I don't want to
yeah,
know. I watch it because I want to watch it.
yeah. Well, we do watch football. Well, we are huge Eagles fans, and they're now
We watched them last
2
night.
and 0. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
were
did good.
they're really good. They're looking ragged, but it's Philly teams tend to do this. They start off the season looking like crap, and then
Mhm.
they go, "Oh, wait, we're a winning team, so let's do that."
Oh
And
wait,
then
it's
we'll
halfway
go to
through the
the
season and we want to make it to the finals.
yeah, so we're gonna go to the World Series or the Super Bowl. Yay, okay, fine. Yeah,
Nice.
but yeah, we do watch that, but I didn't watch last night because I go up to bed at 8:30 so I can read, and they started the game at 8:15, so I saw a couple of plays, that was it.
Well, my husband watched it and we liked the Eagles because they were against the Vikings. So, I mean, it's not that we like the Eagles; they're a good team, but it's not we're like ooh rah rah the Eagles. It was go Eagles beat the Vikings, and so
Who are you against?
we are against the Vikings.
Well,
And
that's the
I
way
told
we are with the Dallas Cowboys. Anybody who beats them is our
Ooh,
favorite team. I'm
it
sorry.
that one's my close second because they used to be in our conference. They're not anymore. But for me, it's anybody that beats the Vikings, they're good. Anybody that beats the Cowboys is good for me too. But I told Tony this year, I'm like, even if the Packers don't make it, because starting over with a new quarterback, I realize he's been there for a couple of years. But if they don't make it, I'm okay with the Lions or the Bears maybe getting a little bit further and doing well and representing, And he's like, what? Like, I think I actually saw his brain skip as I was saying these things. He's like, no.
Well,
He said,
that's like
the
us
Vikings
saying
have
that
to lose.
the New York Giants, it's okay if they win. No, it's really not because they're
I'm
New
like,
York.
well,
What is
so
wrong
I
with
will just
you?
hold this little bud in my heart and hope that somebody from our conference does really well. But, okay, I won't cheer for them openly.
No, you will not. Not if you want to stay married. Dawn
No.
says
Yeah.
she watches survival and making shelters in the woods, and
What is
that's when
that?
she gets a lot of crochet done. I've never heard of that one.
I haven't either. Now I have to look it up. Where
Shelters
do you
in the
watch it?
yeah, Dawn, where is it? Where is Shelters in the Woods? What
Yes,
channel?
because we're always
We
down
we
for a new
must
show.
we must know. Oh my goodness.
So yeah, other than that, what are you doing this weekend? Tell us, tell us.
Oh gosh. Well, I was gonna save it for next episode and share what I was doing. It's on YouTube.
Oh, on YouTube.
Um,
Okay.
yeah. Um, we every year we go to the Finger Lakes in New York and we wine taste all weekend long.
Oh
Now,
my God.
however you feel about alcohol or drinking or wine or beer or whatever, it's more about the just being in an absolutely stunningly gorgeous part of the country. It's just about well, to get to the Finger Lakes, to the one closest to us, it's about 3 to 3.5 hours. But where we go is a little bit farther west, so it takes us about 4 to 4.5 hours to get there. But it's an absolutely stunning part of the country. And wine tastings are done in a way that it's like going to a spa. You're
Okay.
treated to um, an array of wines that are just if you like wine, they're just fantastic wines. And we stay at a beautiful bed and breakfast. It's a working farm that a caterer owns. It's a family farm out in
Wow.
the middle of nowhere between the
Wow.
lakes. And for breakfast, this guy who's a top chef fixes us breakfast, and there are only 3 rooms in the house. So that's 6
nice.
people maximum that are treated to this beautiful breakfast. We go with our friends, we play cards in the evening, we go out to eat at some nice places. And it's the one weekend of the year we really treat ourselves this
Heck
weekend.
yeah. I mean, that sounds
Yeah.
amazing. When we lived in Wisconsin, I've only ever been to one wine tasting in my life, and it wasn't anything fancy. We when we lived in Wisconsin, we used to go up to, oh, and now the name of the place escapes me, and why would it escape me? Because it's still one of my favorite places. Anyway, so we would go there every year because it's like the apple capital of Wisconsin. And every fall we would go up there, do apple picking, we'd go to the different orchards. Well, one of the orchards made wine. And so we decided, we got a group of our adult friends together, because usually we went with the kids, and the Madeline Islands are there. And so you would take a ferry out, and it's just beautiful. It's just gorgeous. It's this most beautiful little serene town. Anyway, moving on. So a group of our adult friends went up there, and we decided we're going to go and do a wine tasting because we've never done this before. And I'm just going to say I'm not a wine drinker. However, the cranberry wine and the blueberry wine were really, really good. And if I were going to be a wine drinker, that's what I would drink. However, I had approximately that much wine the entire day and ended up with a splitting migraine. So for me, wine is not going to work.
Not your friend.
But
Not your
I
friend.
mean, it's fun to just kind of go do something different and try something.
Just sit outside. They had the tastings
Yes,
outside,
and
and
it's
this weekend is
beautiful.
supposed to be low 70s, and you're on the lake, on
Hmm.
this gorgeous, huge lake. So it's just an absolutely wonderful weekend. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. Thanks for asking.
Yes, well, I'm excited for you. I'm gonna live vicariously through you because it sounds like a magical weekend. I love times when you can get away with just friends and just chill out and hang.
Just be, just
Yes,
be.
that's so
Yep, I
nice.
agree. All right, Biz. Well,
Well,
I
we're
have
gonna
to go
expect to
finish
hear
my
all about the
packing.
magic next week.
Oh, you definitely will. Yeah, I got to go finish packing because we're planning on a noon departure, which is just a
Oh,
little
right
over an
around the
hour from
corner.
now. Wah, wah. So
Gotta go.
it's been amazing to talk with all of you today
Yes.
and my great friend Biz. So we are
Yay.
so happy to share that with you. And we hope to see you next week. We'll be back at the regular time unless life happens, which it can, but we'll be back at the regular time. And we'll be
Yeah.
talking about the, what we see as the future of fall fashion trends and try to break it all down for you. So we appreciate you being
Yeah.
here.
Are
Thank you so much.
are we doing handbags and totes next week?
Oh, that's right. See, Biz helps me stay focused. We're
That's
doing
my jam.
handbags
I
and
love
totes.
handbags and totes.
Yeah, me too. So I don't know why I forgot it, but that's okay. It's the morning,
That's okay.
apparently.
'Cause you have wine on the brain, girl. It's time to go.
Okay, all right. That's probably not a good thing to say, but that's all right. All right, I'm out of here.
All
This
right.
is Debbie saying bye from Madam Stitch,
And Biz from Busy Crochet, thanks for joining us today.
and we'll see you next week. Bye,
Yes.
everybody.
Bye.